Everyone, my name is Tiffany, and the topic I chose for my educational infomercial is school health. So, what are some health topics taught in schools? First of all, there are some 6 essential content areas that are taught in elementary, middle, and high schools. They vary in how much content is discussed, especially as the student matures. And so, a lot of the content that is discussed in elementary schools aren't really discussed in high schools, but they do introduce topics and touch up on subjects. So for elementary schools, they'll do basic knowledge about growth and development, injury prevention, safety, personal and community health, nutrition and physical activity, alcohol, tobacco and other drugs, and mental, emotional, and social health. Again, these are topics that are kind of touched on, not too deeply, but they are often there to help the students, especially from kindergarten to 6th grade, introduce them to these things and as they're maturing and growing up as students in class. So as we move on to middle schools, this is where they'll also introduce the topic of sexual health when they talk about growth and development. They'll oftentimes talk about STDs, HIV, other things that might affect them as they're growing older. They'll explain the physical, social, and emotional changes that are associated with adolescence. On personal and community health, they'll advocate healthy habits and talk about the influence of culture and the media, especially since this is around the time that students might be becoming more involved in social media and their society. Overall, alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, they'll oftentimes be taught to avoid these things, but also describe the dangers of drug dependence and addiction. Um, of course, in high school, that's where they mature in the areas a lot more, especially since they are older and can handle a lot more mature detail and information, such as injury prevention and safety. They'll often discuss laws about bullying, sexual violence, and sexual harassment, and also identify ways to stay safe in natural disasters and emergency situations. For nutrition and physical activity, all throughout their years, they're taught on how to live healthy lives, live a healthy lifestyle, and maintain healthy habits. By high school, the students will understand the relationship of the health benefits to lifestyle and how that might affect their life later on, and how chronic disease might affect that. They'll also go more into detail about alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs and identify the relationship between ATOD and the effects on the body in terms of diseases, disorders, illnesses. And this is where they'll also really dive into the topic of mental, emotional, and social health by describing benefits of having positive relationships and identifying ways to prevent things like depression, suicide, and other self-destructive behaviors. There will be sources and helplines that can help the student overcome these obstacles or find ways to seek help or guidance. Moving on to obtaining a teaching credential in school health at Cal State Long Beach. Luckily, we do have a program planner for school health education as an option here at Cal State Long Beach. Of course, the requirements would include completing all of your general education courses. Overall, these would be about 120 units. At least 40 of them would be upper division, and then with an additional 45 units if the student is taking or enrolled in the single subject credential program, in which they would be able to study specifically for school health. Overall, all teachers or prospective teachers would be taking the CBEST or CSET exam at the end, which is a statewide exam that allows teachers to obtain their credential before finding a job in teaching, etc. Now, for other schools in California that offer school health credentials besides Cal State Long Beach would be Azusa Pacific University. This is a great program because they have a program in which the student can earn both bachelor's degree and their preliminary kindergarten through 12th grade teaching credential at the same time and in just about 4 years, which may include 1 or 2 summers, but that's a pretty good deal, and oftentimes students will graduate and go straight into a teaching job. Of course, you got to complete your undergrad coursework, which is about 64 units, and then take some credential courses through the School of Education. The single subject teaching credential would take about 32 program units as well. And, of course, like I said, prospective students have to take the CBEST or CSET exam at the end of their coursework. Other than that, that's about it for school health and how to obtain a school health teaching credential in California. Thank you for listening and happy Thanksgiving.